They kicked my mom door in, tied me up, tied me and my mom up, home invaded me, beat me for like 3 hours, and they beat me bad trying to get the dope and the money, and like I ain't even had nothing at my mom's house, like, so really they were doing it for them because they want no dope and money in the house.
All right, good afternoon. This is State of Florida versus Stephen Testa with multiple cases before the court.
Yo, what's poppin', man? It's your boy E.I. the King, and this is the Incarceration Podcast, where I talk about prison, pre, post, and present, and how everything that I experienced throughout my incarceration has forever changed my life. This is the Incarceration. So Forever Convict family, once again, we are on the journey to 50,000 subscribers. If you haven't subscribed, please go ahead and do so now. Share this channel with somebody who hasn't.
All right, T. Clark, man. First of all, bro, welcome to the Incarceration Podcast, bro. We're going to go ahead and get right into it, man. So go ahead and just introduce yourself to the viewers. What's your name, where you're from, and just go ahead and dive into your story to start with your childhood and your upbringing, bro.
Yeah, my name T. Clark. I'm from Wadesboro, North Carolina, a little country town in North Carolina, but it's a deadly country town. And I got incarcerated my last incarceration, I was incarcerated in 2011, and I was sentenced to 16 years, 192 months in federal prison for conspiracy to sell crack cocaine.
All right, so this before we get into your charges and your prison sentence and all that, just go ahead and walk us through your childhood. How was your upbringing? How was your family life? What was it like for you as a kid, as a child, just growing up? What was your story, your background like?
Well, my upbringing, man, was pretty much my mom was, working. She was a Christian going to church, had us going to church 2-3 times a week, maybe 3 times on Sunday. And my dad, he was a hustler. He was in the streets, and I seen that lifestyle from him, being in the streets, and he's on disability, and he was kind of like the biggest weed dealer in our town at the time. So I grew up seeing him, sell weed and be in the streets. So when I grew up and got older, that's kind of what made me like get off to that area to like want to do the same thing as seeing my dad do. And like it was rough for my mom and dad, because my dad was like he was on disability, so it was always a struggle. So basically, like, he was selling weed to like support what he had going on, because getting a disability check wasn't much at that time. So he was a hustler on the side. So I was seeing all that. Everybody greeted us like we was family to them just because they were buying weed from my dad. So we grew up seeing all that hustling going on.
Okay, so it's obvious that your dad, being involved in the game, selling weed and all that, that was an influence to you at a young age to begin to, take that route. So when did that start happening for you? Like, what age did you start getting involved in like a
I
legal
s-
activity, and what was it? Like, what happened?
Well, when I got 15, I started, breaking in houses, stealing stuff, and kind of trying to figure out how to do stuff that was illegal. So, running with the wrong crowds at the time, running with some guys, with my friends, what I thought was my friends, just being I ain't gonna say a follower, but just being in a group of people that was doing stuff that I seen always going. Like my cousin, we was going to he was introducing me to like breaking into people's houses. And so, I said, man, I can't be doing this. So I figured another way out to do something. So me and my homeboy did a lick, and that's what stopped me from stop doing that. And I took what I did with that lick, and got a whole bunch of drugs, and that stopped me up for the sale crack cocaine.
How old were you around this time when you really started getting like head first in the street, selling dope and everything?
Like 17.
17. Okay, so this start transitioning into like your first arrest and just the beginning stages of you actually getting to like trouble with the law and getting locked up.
Yeah,
When did that
well,
start and what happened?
my first arrest came well, my first I was getting like little charges for, get stopped, had weed on me, but I was always paying the little fine and getting out. And in 2003 was the first time I got busted for crack. I was I was me and my kid's mother, one of my kids' mother, we had I want to say a trap spot, and her brother was selling for me, and he had sold to an undercover, and they busted the house, and that was my first time I got in trouble was through him. They was coming for him, like on the paperwork it said they was coming for him, but they knew I was gonna be there. So they ran up in there, and that was in 2003. And the SBI said at that time that, that the feds were coming to pick me up. That was in 2003.
So was it feds who kicked in the trap?
Now it was state, but I guess a couple of my homeboys had already been picked up by the feds at that time. So I guess I don't know whether they were saying something or out because they knew me from hanging around them, or it was just crazy how the SBI had told me at that time that it wasn't no use for me making bond because the feds was gonna pick me up, and that was in 2003.
Okay, so what happened with that case?
Well, I ended up getting 3 years of probation. Then I violated, and I ended up going to do 6 months in the state prison, and that was in 2005. And I ended up going to do 6 months because I violated a 3-year probation.
What were the original charges? Like, what did they catch you at work? You got a possession charge?
Yeah, I got
Intent to
caught.
sell?
I got caught with selling, distributing crack cocaine, and I got caught with, I think it was an 8 ball, a quarter, like 3.5 or 7 grams. I got caught with, and a whole bunch of money. I got caught with a whole bunch of money. I got caught with like I had like, I think I want to say like over like $7,000 and a whole like probably $1,200 in ones and that I had in the shoebox. And I think they found a gun on my baby mama brother, but nobody didn't get charged with the gun. So, but like I said, at that time, the SBI was telling me that the feds were coming to get me, which still was spooking me out, like, because it was like that was my first time ever being in trouble. So I was wondering, like, why is my name involved in stuff? But evidently they was already wanting me.
All right, before we continue on with the story, man, let's start with that brief prison bid, man. So, how old were you when you went to prison the first time for those 6 months? And I guess start giving us, just paint the picture for the viewer of what it was like. And this was in what state, North Carolina?
It was in North Carolina.
All right, and walk us through that first day in prison, like the intake from the county to the prison, riding the bus. What was going on in your mind? How old were you, man? Paint that picture for the viewer, bro.
At that time, I want to say I was 27. I want to say I was like 27. And like riding the bus, man, just being like going, like, really, I was already like, well, I ain't got to go but do but 120 days. So that's what I kept in my mind. I counted it day by day, 120 days, I'm gonna be in here and out. And when like my first day of going, I was hot because, like being, just going to prison. I had asked the judge, because I got sentenced like I think the week before Thanksgiving, and I asked him, I was like, I don't mind going to prison, but can I turn myself in after the holidays? And they were like, nah, you going to date. So, I was hot, man, on the bus. I was feeling down. I was feeling, angry mad at the world because, I had to go do 6 months.
All right, how was that first day in prison, man? Was it like a TOH? You went straight to obviously you're 27, so I'm sure you probably didn't go to a JIT camp. So you went straight to a adult prison. You go to like a max facility, minimum security. Was it like a TOH? You had to get in the grid
Yeah,
right
it
when you
was
got
like,
there? How'd it go?
the first day I went, it's like in North Carolina, they send you to this place, in Piedmont where you go, it's like an intake. So you go, you get tested for stuff, you get, you get like kind of like you get leveled out. Like you get basically like what level of security risk you gonna be at when you do go to when they do ship you to your yard where you gonna be at. So it's like an intake yard, and across you can see people over there. They doing, they doing life, and they doing some time over in the other spot. But I was over here, like at first, man, it was cool, man. Like I ain't gonna say it was sweet, but it was like that people smoke. A dude had me a joint. So when I when I went in there, so they was in there smoking weed, smoking cigarette. Well, at that yard, they was selling tobacco on the commissary, and letting people smoke cigarettes and stuff. So it was like I was like, man, this really crazy. Like when I first went in, cause I really didn't want to be there, but I know I had to be there. Like so, by being locked up, cause like I never like when I did get locked up, I always burned out. So I never really kind of spent a night over days in jail. So it was like knowing I was finna be in here for 120 days to 6 months. It was like a difference, man.
What were some like memories of that prison bid that you'll never forget? Your first time in prison, only doing them, a few hundred some days. What were some crazy prison memories of that bid that you can remember? Funny, violent, crazy, weird.
And I remember it was this guy, man. This young dude, man. He was trying to be a blood. He always wanted to be in the blood game, and they initiated him. So I don't, like they beat him, beat him bad, like, and the next day, like he was trying to hide around, like his face was swole, his eye was swole. He was bruised up pretty bad. Next day, man, they came through, man. They looking at people's hands, looking at people's face. They were locking all these guys up. So I guess I don't know if the camera caught them or somebody told, but it was like I was in the dorm and we just heard some foot like some how the shoe be sliding like making a squeaky noise, so you just heard a bunch of foot like squeaky noise, and I knew somebody was fighting or something was going on. So next thing I know, it was like, man, dude over there getting initiated. So I guess if people that's in the blood, they know like you got to take 100 so many licks and make it through. And man, they beat him bad. And man, the next day all them guys got locked up. I was like, man, this is crazy, man.
What did you do throughout your whole bid? Like, what was your day-to-day routine in that small prison bid? Man, that's a vacay, you know what I mean?
Yeah,
Especially
yeah,
being your
yeah.
first bid, though. Like,
Yeah.
I mean, one day is too long away from family and society, but like, how was your day-to-day schedule your first bid?
My day-to-day schedule was, man, I get up, I was working I had a kitchen job, man. I was going in the kitchen work, and then after that I work out. I work out and then I read after that. So that was my day-to-day. They had me working in the kitchen. I go to work, I get off, I go to work out, and I worked out with some big guys because I always was stronger than people to my size, so I always worked out with the bigger guys, and we'll go work out car. After that, I read, you know, get ready for the next day. That's basically like how my day went, the whole 120 days.
There you go, just quick vacay, working out, you know what I mean, doing your time, staying out the way.
Yes, sir.
All right, so this continue on with the story. How was the transition out? Like, were you nervous? Were you scared? Were you excited? Obviously, you know, and then talk about getting out, and then what did life look like for you after getting out?
And listen, if you've done any time, I'm talking about a county jail, state penitentiary, federal, or even drug programs, whatever. If you want to share your story on this channel, go ahead and email me at eithekingbooking. Go ahead and put your stories in the comments below. If there's anything that I talked about slightly, you want me to go more in depth on, or anything I haven't talked about at all, and it's a good idea, drop it in the comments. Let me know. And also remember, I am a rapper. My artist name is E.I. the King. You can find my music on all platforms. I also have another channel, YouTube channel, my official artist channel, E.I. the King. And I also have another podcast. It's called Let Me Talk Bro, where I talk more so about my life, music, ministry, and all these things. Also, I have a Patreon with exclusive content. Everything is in the description below. So listen, man, till the next time, it's your boy, E.I. the King.